Good evening, everyone. Good evening, friends. Welcome back to our day 18 of Python for AI session. So we have started discussing a important topic as part of these particular sessions, right? So in the last session, we started understanding conditional statements. We started with float control statements, under which we have the first type as conditional statements, also called as, selection statements or branching statements. All of these three mean same. So what is the purpose of using a conditional statement? The purpose of using a conditional statement is they help us to perform a certain operation when the condition is true. So if a condition is holding true, we can perform a certain operation. Or even though the condition is false, it helps us to perform other operation, but only for once. So this word has to be underlined. Only for once, these operations can be performed, either if the condition is true or false, right? And in Python, we have four types of conditional statements, four types of branching statements. What are they? Simple if else, if-elif-else, and match keys. Right? So these are the four different types of conditional statements that we have in Python, and we have discussed the first two types. Simple if and if-else statements were being discussed in the last session. So guys, tell me the syntax for simple if statement. What is the syntax for simple if statement? This is the syntax. Yes, the syntax is very simple for the if statement. If followed by the test condition, then the indentation symbol, that is colon. If the test condition followed by colon, then whatever the statements that has to be executed will keep under the indentation block. So all these are the indentation block of statements. Yes, right. So we have also understood the examples for simple if statements. Yes, taking two numbers. Okay, we are trying to check which number is greater. Okay, the biggest out of the two. And we have also came up with a very funny program in Python. Okay, whether if the person have ticket or not. So these are the examples that we have discussed. Yes. And next to simple if statement, we also discussed if-else statements are also called as nested if-else statements or inner if-else statements. The syntax is for the same if block, it is also going to add an additional block called else block. So if statement followed by else statements. Okay, the same understanding guys, no change. And even for if else, we have understood multiple examples, right? So we have tried to build the payslip. Payslip for the employees were being generated using inner if else statements, nested if else statements. And we were also able to check whether the given value is digit or number. Then also trying to get the highest of among the given numbers, the biggest among the given numbers. Yes. So these are a few examples a few use cases that we have understood as part of if-else statements. Right? Yes. So today we'll take our journey a bit further and we'll understand the next types under conditional statements. That is, what are the next types that we have in the conditional statements? The next type under conditional statements, branching statements or selection statements is if, elif, else statement. If, elif, else statement. And here we have the syntax. The syntax is if followed by the test condition, then indentation symbol. Okay, so once after giving the indentation symbol, we'll keep the indentation block of statements 1. Okay, so that means whatever the statements that we have here will be executed. When do these statements will get executed? Until unless if this condition holds true. Right? Only if the condition holds true, then the first block of statements get executed. What if the condition that we have in the if block, if it is holding false? It goes to the next block called elif block. Okay, what does the statement say? What type of statement are we using? If, elif, else statements. So we'll have one if block, then we can have multiple elif blocks and one else block. One else block. Once after the test condition getting filled, if it is not holding true, it enters the first elif block. It checks for the same condition. The test condition gets evaluated. If it is holding true, okay, the block of statements that we have under this block, they get executed. But what if this is false? It goes to the next elif block. In the same way, it checks for each and every condition. Wherever the condition holds true, for the particular block, the statements get executed. What if all the conditions that are present in if and elif blocks, if they are false, if they are not holding true, then it directly goes to the else block and it executes the statements that we have in the else block. Right? Very simple. Yes. Now let us understand the explanation for the syntax that we have here. So within the syntax, we are using 3 keywords. What are they? If, elif, and else. How many keywords do we have in Python? In the recent updated version of Python, it is 3.13. How many keywords do we have? 35? Yes, we have 35 keywords. Out of 35 keywords, here we have 3. If, elif, and else. Then, initially, it checks the test condition that we have in the if block. Because that is the first block, right? So, it checks for the condition. If this is holding true, then what happens? It executes block of statements 1. So whatever the statements that we have here get executed and the other statements in program, that doesn't mean these statement guys. So after this if, elif, else statements, you'll have other statements in the program. Yes. So those statements gets executed. I mean this one. It means this one. But what if this condition is not holding true? If it is false? The same way, it goes to the test condition 2. It checks, it evaluates test condition 2, which is part of first elif block. Which is part of first elif block. Okay, and if this is holding true, it executes the block of statements 2. as well as the other statements in Python. It just maintains the same way and it checks for the conditions. Wherever the condition is holding true, it is going to execute the corresponding block of statements and the other statements in the program. This is what happens if you work on if-elif-else statements. But what if all the conditions hold false? If they are not holding true, if all the test conditions are false, then the Python virtual machine will execute the statements that we have in else block. Directly, it goes to the else block and it executes the statements that we have in the else block. And this is very important. Writing the else block is optional. So this is not mandatory. This is an optional thing, guys. This is optional. Okay. So again, it's upon us. Whenever you want to add this else block, you can add and come up with your statements down to this block. Okay. So if all the conditions hold false, the statements that we have in the else block gets executed. Okay. The point to be noted is it is optional. That's it. So is this clear? Simple? Yes, it's very simple. Why? We are familiar with if statements, simple if statements. Yes, we are also get familiar with if else statements. Okay, as we are good at these two statements, it will be very easy for understanding if else statements. Right? Yes. Now let us quickly understand how if-elif-else block gets executed. Let us understand the flow chart, my friends. Okay, so initially it checks for the test condition 1. Yes. So if this is holding true, if it is true, it executes the block of statements 1. Yes. That is what we have discussed. It executes the statements that we have in the first block, if block, as well as the other statements in Python. Okay, within the program, whatever the other statements that we have will also get executed. But what if the test condition is not holding true? If it is false, then it goes to the test condition 2, which is part of the first elif block. Which is part of the first elif block. And whatever the statements that we have under this block get executed, and after executing all the statements that are part of this block, the other statements in the program will also get executed. And this journey continues as it is. Till all the conditions, whatever the conditions that we have, it checks for the condition where it is going to hold true. Okay, if all the conditions are false, if it is directly going in this fashion, it is going to execute the block of statements that we have in else block as well as the other statements in the program. So if you are able to memorize this particular, flow chart at least, you can build up your logic, my friends. When you are working out on any question, okay, the logic is something is important. Okay, so that logic can be built using this flow chart. How exactly an if-elif-else statement works can be understood. So without no further delay, let us go and work out on a few examples. Okay, so we'll work on a few examples. I have updated the spider, so looking completely different, but still. Yes. So what are we doing? I'm coming up with a program. So this is a Python program which helps us to find the biggest value of three numbers. Okay, when there are three numbers, this particular program helps us to find the biggest one. The largest one. Right? So let us understand what are we doing here. So what are we doing in line number 3126? In 3126, what are the functions that we are using? What functions are we using, my friends? I'm using int as well as input function. See, what functions am I using here? I'm using two functions. They are int as well as input. Int and input functions are being used. So what will be the output, my friends? What are the functions we are using here? I'm using input function as well as int function. So what does an input function does? An input function, it helps us to read the data from the keyboard, right? So by default, an input function stores the data in str type. Str type will be used to store the value. So this value, whatever the value, even if I give the value as 10, this gets stored in str type. So using str data type, the value gets stored when we use input function. But how can we compare str type? Can we compare the values if you have the data stored in str type? No. So assume if these are the numbers that I have got. You know, can we compare the values that are present in str type? They got stored in str type. No. For that reason, I'm using int function and performing type conversion. What are we doing, my friends? We are performing type conversion. Okay. So the data that we have in str type gets converted to int. So the values will be 10, 20, 30, and they get stored to A, B, C. Am I right? They get stored to A, B, and C respectively. Then what are we doing? I'm starting building my logic. I'm using if, elif, else statements. I'm using if, elif, else statements to build my logic. Okay. So what is the first statement? The first one is if statement. So I use if keyword. Then the test condition 1. So what is the test condition that we have? If A greater than B. Okay. If the value that is present in A, if it is greater than B, and what operator it is? Logical and A greater than C. So when does the logical operator returns true, my friends? When does a logical operator and returns true? When does this returns true? A logical AND operator returns true when both the conditions hold true. If this condition and if this condition, if they hold true, then a logical AND operator will obviously return as true as the output. So let us check. Is 10 greater than 20? No. Here itself, that condition is false. If any one of the condition is false, we know that AND operator will return false. So my condition says false. Will it enter into the block of statements? No. It will not execute. Why? The test condition is holding false. So it goes to the next test condition. Okay. Under the elif block 1, we have the next test condition. Yes. So what is the condition? B greater than A and B greater than C. Is B greater than A? Yes, true. Is B greater than C? False. But I'm using AND. I'm using AND as the logical operator. I'm using a logical operator AND. Since I'm using AND, the output will be false again. So even the test condition 2 is also false. It is not holding true, my friends. Then it enters the test condition 3. 30 greater than 10. True. And 30 greater than 20. True. So in both the statements, in both the conditions, the output is true. So final output will be true. Here, the condition is holding true. Okay. Since the condition is holding true, it is going to execute the third block of statements. So it will execute line number 3134. Biggest of 10, 20, 30 is 30. Since I'm using format function, so the values gets formatted. A, B, C, and C will get formatted at the positions respectively. Okay, so let me take the same values and see what happens. Am I using any else block within the program? Is there any else block in the program? No. So we discussed, right? Else block is optional. It's not mandatory. This is optional, my friends. Okay. If you want to have it in your code, yes, include it. If not, you can exclude. Still it executes. Now, let me execute the program by passing the same numbers for ABC and see what happens. Selected. I have to execute all the lines of the code in a single go. Okay. So it is asking me to enter the first value. I am keeping it as 10. Then I'll click on enter. Then the second value is 20. The third value is 30. Is it done? Yes, it is done. So the values got stored to the same variables, 10 in A, 20 in B, 30 in C, and I also see the output. Is this the same output? Yes, the same output whatever we have discussed. Clear? Okay, so I'll execute one more time. This time I'll give the values as, 500, 500 and 500. So what will be the output, my friends? What will be the output? The output will be all values are equal. All values are equal will be the output. Why? Because this test condition fails. The second one will also fail. Even in the third condition also it fails. But the fourth one will be true. This test condition 4 will hold true. The value that we have in A and the value that we have in B, both are same? Yes. What kind of operator it is? It is a relational operator. Is equals to, and the value that we have in B and the value that we have in C, again both of them are same. I'm using a relational operator, so I'll get a true again. To combine these two relational operators, two relational expressions, we are using a logical operator. And so in both the cases it is true, right? So the overall output will be true. So that is the reason it executes the block of statements that we have within the third elif block. The values, all values are equal will be the output. Is it clear? Now, if you are clear on this particular, use case, you guys have to respond for the next use case. So we are coming with a Python program for accepting any digit and printing its name. I think this was already done, right? This was already done using if-else statements. Then what is the advantage of, or what is the difference that you observe here, friends? It is the same program. The question is saying, Python program for, accepting a digit and printing its name. The same program we have done using if-else statements. Now I'm going to do this using if-elif-else statements. What makes the difference is the number of lines. The number of lines in the code gets reduced. Here we have the crisp version of the previous example. If you are trying to build the same logic using if-else statements, the number of lines will get increased. But here we have just a few lines. Compared to that, yes, the number of lines got decreased, reduced. Right? So it's better if you use elif statements, if-elif-else statements to reduce your code. Okay, so I'm going to use input and int function, asking the user to enter any digit. So assume that I have given the digit as say 6. Did it got stored in D? Yes, it got stored in the object D, variable D. Now I have to use the syntax of if-elif-else statements, and I'll come up with the logic. So tell me, what will be the output, my friends? Is this the condition true? The test condition 1, is it true? False. 6 is equals to 0, false. 6 is equals to 1, false. 6 is equals to 2, false. 6 is equals to 3, false. 6 is equals to 5, false. 6 is equals to 4, false. 6 is equals to 6, true. As the test condition is holding true, the block of statements that we have within this elif block gets executed. That means line number 3153 will be executed. So it is going to print, 6 is 6. 6 is 6 will be printed. Clear? Simple, my friends. Okay, I'm using if-elif-else statements to reduce the number of lines. So let me execute all of them together. You see, what is the output that we got? 6 is 6. 6 is what the output we got. Now, let me execute one more time the same program. So it is asking me to enter the digit. I'll keep it as 9. What will be the output? What will be the output? All the test conditions that we have in if as well as elif will be false except the condition that we have in line number 318558. Okay. So when I click on enter, the output will be 9 is 9. 9 is 9 will be the output. Right? I'm executing one more time. This time, instead of passing a digit, let me give a number 90. Let me give a number. What will be the output? All the test conditions in this Python program will hold false. All of them are false. They are not holding true. Why? I have passed a number. It's not a digit. So the output will be 90 is number. The output will be 90 is number will be the output, my friends. Is it making sense? So any questions with respect to if, elif, else statements? Right. So assuming no questions, let us move to the next topic. It is, match case statements. So this is the final type, the fourth type under the conditional statements or the selection statements or the branching statements. It is match case statements. What it is? It is match case. Right. So let us understand what exactly is this match case statements. Okay, we also have the syntax. So it is one of the facility in Python, this got implemented from Python 3.10 version, friends. From this particular version onwards, match case statements has been implemented. So if you are using a Python version which is less than 3.10, you'll get an error. When you try to use match case statement in a Python environment where the version is less than 3.10, so assume that you are using 3.9. Okay, so under 3.9, you'll get the output as invalid syntax. You'll get a syntax error. Okay, ensure you have to check your Python version before you execute. Right? Then, what is the purpose of match case statements is they help us to handle menu-driven applications. Okay, if you are working on any kind of menu-driven applications or pre-designed conditions, if there are also any pre-designed conditions, there we use match case statements. Probably not understood with the statement? Yes. So I'll take an example to understand the definition, the purpose of using a match case statement exactly. Okay, we use them in case of pre-defined conditions. And the syntax is given in this fashion. Match, then your choice expression, whatever is your choice expression, then followed by the, what is this? Indentation symbol. Okay, when you use indentation symbol, by default, 4 spaces will be provided. And all these statements will have by default 4 spaces. Then, in which we have case followed by the labels. Label 1, label 2, label 3, so on. Under the each and every case label, you will have block of statements 1, block of statements 2, so on. Okay, and you can have multiple case labels, and by default there is case underscore block. This is called default case underscore block. And this is again optional, my friends. This is optional, right? So let us understand the syntax to the depth. So let me take you to the next one, right? So within the syntax, we are using two keywords. What are they? They are match as well as case. So whatever the keywords that we are using in this syntax are match and the case. And after match, I'm using a case choice expression. Yes. So this choice expression can be either int or str or bool type data. So either you can pass an int or str or bool type data for choice expression. And if the value of the choice expression is matching with the case label 1, okay, if it is matching with the case label 1, then it executes the corresponding block of statements. Whatever the statements that we have down to this label 1, under the first case label 1 will get executed. And it will also execute the other statements in program. What about the other labels? They'll not get executed, my friends. They'll not be executed. This is what happens. Okay. So the value of the choice expression will be wherever if it is matching with the case label, only that particular block statements will be executed. And along with the block of statements, it will also execute the other statements in the program. Right? Yes. But what if the value of the choice expression is not matching with any of the specified case labels? So within the, syntax, we have label 1, label 2, label 3, so on, right? Okay. So if these labels are, if the labels, if it is not getting matched, then the PVM, the Python virtual environment, the Python virtual machine, it executes the default case block. Whatever we have, case underscore, okay, that gets executed. Whatever the block of statements that we have under the default case block will be executed. This is known as default case block. And later on, it executes the other statements in the program. Right? And writing this default case block is optional. Like how we have else block as optional in the previous statements, in the same way, under match case statement, we have, the default case block as optional. So I hope it's very clear with respect to the syntax. The match and the case are the keywords. Okay. And this choice expression can take either int, str or bool. So these values can be used, can be passed for this choice expression. And if the values of this choice expression, if they are matching with the label, okay, so for the respective block of statements get executed. Assume if the value choice of expression is 1 and if it is matching with the label 1, okay, if these both are matching, it will execute the block of statements 1. What if it is not matching? It goes to the second case block. It checks for the label 2. Is choice expression value and the label 2 value is getting matched or not? If it gets matched, yes, it executes block of statements 2. In this way, it tries to check for each and every label. Wherever it finds the match, the corresponding block of statements get executed. Okay, like how we have an else block as an optional block in the other statements, we have a default case block in match case statements, it is represented with case underscore. So this is nothing but the default block of match case statement. And if none of the labels got matched, it directly executes the default block of statements that are present in the default block case. Clear? So probably if I come up with any of the examples, you may understand. Okay. For that reason, I have very small example talking about, the days. We are going to understand the days. Have a look. This is an example. This is a Python program just to demonstrate the match key statements. Okay. Where we are trying to check what is the week name that was passed by the end user. Is it a holiday or working day or weekend? If not, if anything other value is being passed, it is considered as not a weekday. That is what we are trying to do here, friends. For that, I am using match case statements. Okay, so you see here in line number 3166, what are we doing? What are we doing in line number 3166? I'm using input function. I'm using input function to get the data from the keyboard. So when I execute this, it is asking me to enter the week name. So the end user, by just going through this message, he or she will give a week name, a day name. Okay. So probably today it's Thursday, right? So let me give it as Thursday. Let me give it as Thursday. Then the moment I click on enter, this value Thursday gets stored in WK name. And what type is being used? str type. Why? Because of input function. Input function by default stores the value using str type. Right. Now I'll use the match case statement. I'm using match case statement. So let us just follow the syntax. Match keyword followed by choice expression. This choice expression should hold a value of either int or str or bool. So what is the value that I'm taking? What type of data I'm taking? I'm taking str. Is it accepted? Yes, it is accepted. Then colon, the indentation symbol. The moment you click on enter, so it leaves 4 spaces. By default, it leaves 4 spaces. Then we'll start using the cases. The case keyword, then the label 1, the block of statements. Case keyword, label 2, block of statements. Case keyword, label 3. Then in this fashion, you can keep n number of case blocks along with the labels. Wherever there is a match with respect to the choice statement, the choice expression and the label, only that particular case statements will be executed. So here do we have a match? No. Why? Because what is the value that is present in W key name? It is Thursday. It is Thursday. But here the label says Sunday. Is Sunday and Thursday both are getting matched? No. So the condition is, it is not getting matched. So it will not execute the block of statements. Then it goes to the next case block. Okay, here also the condition is not getting matched. It is not getting matched with the choice expression. No, no. But here, yes, Thursday is Thursday. We have a match, and whatever the statements that we have under this block, this particular case block, they get executed. So what will be the output? The output will be Thursday is working day. Thursday is working day will be given as output. Let me execute. Did we get the same output? Yes. We got the same output, my friends. A good question. My friend had a question. My friend says, why are you passing the value only in the uppercase? Why did you pass Thursday in uppercase? Try passing Thursday in the same lowercase. Okay, let me do it. I'll give this time. It is asking me to enter the week name. So I'll give Thursday in lowercase. Lowercase, my friends. All the characters in lowercase. Will it execute? What will be the output? What will be the output if I pass Thursday in lowercase? So the Thursday which is in lowercase got stored in the object WK name. What will be the output? Will it not execute? Good. The output will be Thursday is not weekday. It gets printed. Why? Because if you see here, under each and every label, we have the day names in uppercase only. Okay, if the end user passes the value, okay, in the lowercase, so the label will not get matched with any of the choice expression. The choice expression does not match with any of the label. No. So that is the reason it will not execute any of these cases. No. So what happens? The default case block gets executed. Thursday is not weekday gets printed. But Thursday is a weekday, right? I mean, it's a working day, right? It has to give us, this output has to be returned. The output actually should be this one. But just we are passing the value in lowercase, it is changing the output. So what I am supposed to do? I should not get this one, right? Thursday is one of the weekday. And it is more or it's a working day. Right? I have to get Thursday, which is in lowercase, is working day as output. For that reason, what I can do the changes. Within the same code, what changes can I bring? Can you guys suggest me the changes? I'll give you enough time. Think and tell me what changes can be done. Okay, good, good. My friend says, anyhow you are using the labels in uppercase, right? Change them in lowercase. This is what my friend says. But what if the end user passes in uppercase? Again, I'll get the same output. I mean, the output will be wrong. No, it has to address for both the cases, uppercase as well as lowercase. Good. Accepted. Lower function is what I can use. What else can be done? What else can we do? Can we perform, friends? One is using lower function. Accepted. No, if we are changing the case labels, what happens is, see, if instead of using Sunday in uppercase, if I keep the label one as Sunday in lowercase, okay, but this time, the end user passes the same Sunday in uppercase. Will I get this output? No, but Sunday should be a holiday. Just because of the different case, the output is getting changed. Right? So what else can be done? One is we can get the output using lower function. That's fine. But here also if it fails, how? You know, if the end user passes the value in uppercase, okay, anyhow you are using the lower function, okay, it is accepted. Any other responses, any other answers from your side? Anything else can be done? Okay, good, good. So far, I got beautiful answers, good answers. I'll reveal, you know, is this accepted? Will you accept this or not? What do you say, my friends? Using OR operator in case labels. Good. What am I doing? What are we doing? I'm just changing the condition of my label. Whatever the label that we have so far, I just have the label only in the uppercase. I'm changing the conditions. Yes, this will accept whatever might be your case. Even if it is Sunday in uppercase or Sunday in lowercase, yes, it accepts. It accepts. So let us give a try. I'm executing the line and here I'll just pass Sunday in lowercase. Enter. So it got stored in WK name, week name. And I'm executing the match case statements. So I got the output as Sunday is a holiday. Accepted. Again, a beautiful question. What if the value that was passed by the end user, if it is in proper case? What do you mean by proper case? Proper case means only the first character should be in. Only the first character will be in uppercase, followed by rest of the characters in lowercase. This is called proper case, my friends. What if the value is given in proper case? That time again, it will not match. The choice expression will not match with the label. So again, it is going to give us the wrong output. The output will be wrong. Yes. So what can we do? In order to tackle this, I cannot keep on extending the right. I cannot use one more OR operator and I cannot keep, Sunday in a proper case. Then what if the case is different? Say Sunday if it is given in this way. So in this way, there are multiple combinations. For that reason, we can directly use lower function. There comes lower function into the picture, friends. Okay. Sorry. There comes the lower function into the picture. Okay. So I hope it's clear. This particular use case is very clear. So I'm going to use the same match case statements and I'm reducing the, size. The number of lines that I have is what I'm going to reduce. How? Just have a look. Either you use either lower or upper function that will solve your problem. Anyways, I'm reducing the number of lines. Anyhow, for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay. For all these days, the output will be day is working day, is what the output should be. So I'm just reducing the number of lines by just keeping all of them in a single case. All of them we have in a single label. So I'm just reducing the lines. Now I'll execute line number 3206. So let me pass Thursday. Done. Then I'm executing the match case statements. What will be the output? The output will be Thursday is working day. Thursday is working day will be the output, my friends. Clear? Now let me use that lower function. If you have a problem of keeping all these things in the picture, you can directly use the lower function. So whatever might be the case that was passed by the end user, this is going to give us the solution. What am I doing? In the next, I'm taking the same code, I'm trying to enhance it. In the sense, I'm just trying to increase the performance of the code. Whatever might be the input that we got from the end user, it has to be accepted. And it should give the right answer, is what our intention is. For that reason, I'm coming up with the lower function. I'm using lower function. I'm using lower function to get the text, whatever that weak name that we get from the end user will get converted to the lowercase. Yes, it gets converted to the lowercase. And once after converting to the lowercase, it just the choice expression will be, check for the label, each and every label, whether it is matching or not. If it is matching, it will execute. The block of statement gets executed. If it is not matching, it goes to the next label. And the same journey happens. Okay, so I assume I have passed a weak name which is not out of the 7 days that we have. Assume I have passed, NEUT, next era Unitech. What will be the output? What will be the output, my friends? The output will be NEUT is not weekday. NEUT is not weekday will be the output. Right? So in this way, we are trying to enhance the code. The Python program that we have built is getting enhanced at each and every level. Okay. So I have come up with a best example for match case statements. Okay. Where we are using the syntax of match keys. We have the match and case keywords followed by the choice expression. And this choice expression takes the values of either int, str or bool type values. And which type value are we using? It is str. So it is accepted. Making sense? Now, let me come up with a Python program to implement, the menu-driven applications for computing all the arithmetic operations. Whatever the arithmetic operations that we have, we are going to implement all of them by using match case statements. Okay, so just go through the program line by line, and what do you understand? You have to focus. Let me know in the chat. A print function printing equals to, this gets printed to the console. Then \t, a tab space which gets printed, followed by the arithmetic operations gets printed, right? Next to it, it is going to print the same is equals to. Then from the next line, it prints a tab space, then addition, a tab space 2 dot subtraction, tab space 3 dot multiplication. In this way, it is going to print all the arithmetic operations that we have in Python. Gets printed to the console. I'm just printing. Okay. Then the final one is to exit. So all these lines get executed and it prints the messages that we have inside the print function will get printed to the console. Simple. From here, the actual code starts. What are we doing here? We are using again two functions, input and int function. Okay, so this input and int function is going to display the message, enter your choice. Okay, so the end user has to enter the values between 1 till 8. Why? Because all of these values are given as the labels. And by default, it accepts only str type. The values will be stored in str type and that gets converted to int. Okay, and we are storing the value inside ch. Once after the value that we got gets stored in ch, we'll have our match case statements. Okay, so depending on the expression, okay, the value that we got for the expression, it will be mapped with the label 1. If it is 1, it executes all these 3 lines. Where we do addition operation, addition is being performed. Okay, what if the label is 2? If the label is 2 and if the end user is also passing 2 as the value, the choice expression and the label gets matched. So once if it is matched, it executes all the rest of the 3 lines. These 3 lines will be executed. Where it is performing subtraction, subtraction gets executed. Then for label 3, the multiplication will be done. For label 4, the division will be, performed. For label 5, the floor division will be performed. And for label 6, the modulus operation will be performed. And for label 7, the power exponential will be performed. And finally, for case 8, the label 8, we are asking to exit the program. I'm using a function called exit, and this is a predefined function which helps us to terminate the program. Okay, in this way, we are coming and using a match case statements. And by default, we have a default case block, which says if your label, none of the label got matched with the choice expression, this default case blocks get executed and it prints your selection of operation is wrong. Execute again gets printed. Accepted? Yes. So let me execute all these lines together. First of all, I'll execute from here. So initially, the end user have to pass a value. Okay, assume I'm passing, enter your choice is what I see the message. I'm just giving it as 3. Then I'll click on enter. I'll click on enter. What do you see here? The next message, enter 2 values for multiplication. Why did this execute? Because the label 3 is also 3. The label 3 that we have is 3 and the choice expression is having 3. So both of them got matched and it started executing the values, the statements that we have in this block. It prints enter 2 values for multiplication. Yes, it printed. Now we have to enter 2 values, my friends. We have to enter. So I'll enter probably 50 is one value and the other value is say 3. The other value is 3. What happens after passing 2 values? These 2 values gets converted to float. They get converted to float and they will be assigned to N1 and 2. N1 will have N1 stores 50.0 and N2 stores 3.0. After storing these values, it prints the message and where the formatting will be done. Mul of 50.0 comma 3.0 will be 150.0 will be the output. See, is this the output? Yes. Simple. So that's what. Depending on the choice expression, whatever the value that you pass for the choice expression, it maps for the case label. Okay, for the case label, it maps the choice expression value, and if it is out of all the label values, it prints your selection of operation is wrong. Let me do it again. This time, I'll give the value as 20. If I give the value as 20, what will be the output? What will be the output, my friends? If I keep it as 20. You guys have to respond. Your selection is, your selection of operation is wrong. That line gets printed. Let me click on enter. See, execute again is what a message gets displayed. If I execute again and let me this time give 8, the default case block has been executed in the previous one. But here, if I give the value for the, the message, enter your choice is 8, choice expression takes 8 and even for the case label 8 is mapping and it prints thanks for this program \n represents a new line character. So within the new line, it prints thanks for this program and it exits. See, done. Clear? So in this way, we use match case statements. Right. I hope it's clear. Yes. Now I'll go back and I'll be discussing about a few important things. This is very important. You know, it's about the internship program that Next Era Unitech is providing. Okay, so Next Era Unitech is providing an internship which is free of cost. You need not pay even a single rupee, not even a penny from your pocket is required for doing this internship. Okay, right. So let us understand this internship program that Next Era Unitech is going to provide. So the agenda, right. We quickly understand what exactly is this Next Era Unitech. I'll talk about the organization. Next Era Unitech is an edutech platform where it offers complete training programs. It might be on data analytics, data science, artificial intelligence, full stack Python, IoT, cyber security, and many more. Okay, so currently we are going to launch a program on Python. Okay, so this Python batch is going to start soon, where we'll be covering the concepts of core and advanced Python along with NumPy and Pandas. So all these belongs to paid courses. Apart from comprehensive training, we have also designed a industry focused curriculum. Okay, where we'll be including all the real world applications as part of the course. And we majorly focus on hands-on learning, my friends. This is our key area. Okay, I'm not sure about other, but we focus on the hands-on learning. Our journey will be around practice, where we'll have more exposure to the projects. Okay, apart from all these things, Next Era Unitech is offering free internship programs, and these are industry recognized. These are industry recognized free internship programs. Okay, so I'll be talking about what is an internship. Okay, probably many of us are not clear on the definition of internship. All right, then followed by what are the benefits that you get and how is the structure for the internship. Okay, then what you are going to gain, each and every phase that we have as part of the internship, we are going to understand, right? Yes. So friends, what exactly you mean by internship? Can you explain? I'll take up your questions at the last. What do you mean by an internship? What do you mean by internship? Because everyone nowadays, they are looking out for internships. But before that, you should understand what do you mean by an internship, right? So when it comes to the meaning of internship, majority of us, we'll have practical exposure. No. We coming from colleges, as we are graduates, we'll have more focus on the theoretical part. We'll have theoretical skill compared to practical skills. Am I right? Yes. So internship is nothing but we'll try to bring, real world experience. This internship journey is going to add real world experience to your career. And it's a opportunity to work on projects. And we'll also, it is going to bring up your network. And moreover, it is going to enhance your problem solving skills. Okay, whatever the problem it might be, depending on the business problem, understanding it and how you are able to solve it can be enhanced. So all these together mean an internship. So in short, gaining practical knowledge, gaining practical skills is nothing but internship. Okay, so these practical skills will be part of our internship, my friends. Okay, so we have an eye on all these things, and I'll talk about the internship that we provide. Next year, our Unitech provides. Okay, so the phases, coming to the phases of the internship. So tomorrow we'll have a orientation session. Okay, so this orientation session will be given only for the people who will be part of this internship. Whoever registers for this internship, only those folks will be part of the orientation program, where we will be introducing to the tools and the concepts and the expectations. Whatever we are expecting from you, all the introduction part will be done tomorrow in the orientation session. Okay, and we'll be communicating the timings as well as the platform where we have to communicate, join. Then after the orientation session, we'll have the learning phase started from the next day. From the next day of the orientation session, we'll have the learning phase journey, where we'll be learning together to build the core concepts. To get the in-depth knowledge on the core concepts, we will be learning for 30 days. Okay, what are we going to learn? How are we going to learn? We'll understand. Then, followed by mentorship. You will have the guidance from our experts. So, our experts will join and they are going to guide you. If you are going in the wrong direction, we are here to mentor you. And the final one is the hands-on project phase. Whatever you have learned, you should also apply it on a project. Yes. So on the industry case studies, we are going to apply our skills as part of this particular phase. I hope it is very clear, simple. Yes. Orientation session followed by the learning phase. Across the learning phase, you'll have the mentorship from our experts, as well as you'll also have the mentorship during our project phase. Okay, so what is this learning phase and what do you do as part of the project phase? Let us understand, my friends. When it comes to the internship details, as part of learning phase, you will be learning for 30 days. But what are we going to learn? You will be learning Python from scratch, then followed by EDA, which is named as exploratory data analysis. So that means we are going to perform analysis on the data. So we do analysis on the data, on the raw data, okay, and we'll understand how we can bring the insights from the raw data. That part we'll be understanding as part of EDA. Then next to it, we'll also do data cleaning. Data cleansing will be done. That means data pre-processing. We'll clean the data. These concepts will also be covered, followed by SQL and Power BI. So all of these, topics you'll be learning in 30 days, my friends. Okay, then post completing your learning phase, you'll be added to project phase. Will everyone be part of project phase? No. Not everyone who do learning phase will be part of project phase. Why? Because in learning phase, whatever the topic that you learn on daily basis, for each and every topic, you'll have assignment. Here we have the third one. Under the details, the third one, daily assignments. This ensures whether you are learning these topics or not. If you are not learning these topics, if you are not gaining the skills, what do you do here in the project? I'm the one who is going to do? No, right? You have to do. So you have to learn. So if you are learning and doing the assignments, yes, you'll be moved to the project phase. If you are not submitting the assignments on time, you'll be moved out of the project here itself. You'll be dropped out of the internship. And this project that you are going to do will be for 15 days, my friends. So in total, it is 45 days. Okay. And we have also bought a doubt clarification sessions. Per week, it will be 2 hours. So every week, all of us will join the session and we'll address our team is going to address all your questions. This is just part of learning phase. But in project phase, we'll connect on daily basis. This is different. If you are working on a project, so that is different. Where we'll connect on daily basis. But under the learning phase, we'll be joining for 2 hours in a week and all your doubts, your queries will be addressed. And very important, nowadays no one is providing you job. Keep it aside. The opportunities got reduced. But internships, hardly very few, but we are providing internships. We are providing internships without taking any fees. It is completely free, not even a rupee. You need not even pay a single penny from your pocket. Okay, so this is very, keep it in mind and use this opportunity, my friends. And finally, if you are just completing both the phases, learning phase and the project phase, you'll also get a certificate which is industry recognized. Finally, you'll get a certificate which is industry recognized. So this certificate, you can add it to your resume and your resume will be having a good amount of weightage. You can talk about it in your interviews and get a good job. Right? So this is the complete overview of the details that we have as part of the internship. But I'm not done. I have to go a bit more. Okay. I have to talk about yes, the career opportunities. Okay, but before that, certification. Okay, so when it comes to the certification, you know, you are going to receive a certificate from our company, but when post completion, after completion of the internship, yes, you will be receiving a certificate from Next Era Unitech, and this is going to add lot of credibility. Okay, this is going to enhance your resume, your LinkedIn profile. You can post all of these things in your, LinkedIn. Add them to your profile, make your profile strong, and you can have it in your resume as well. No one is going to stop you. And this is also showcasing an experience. Internship is nothing but, you are gaining an practical skill. How real-time projects are done can be understood, can be done here. So that experience is what you're gaining from this internship. Okay. So these are a few advantages that we have as part of the program. And finally, the career opportunities, when it comes to the career opportunities, as we are providing the internships specifically on the fields of data science, data analytics, and artificial intelligence, when you are applying for any roles related to these fields, you are actually, to be frank, you're ready for the job because you have already worked on a similar kind of case, right? So yes, you can apply for any of the roles that are related to these different fields: data analytics, data science, AI. So under these fields, you can apply for any of the roles. And you know that these roles, they have a lot of demand. There is a lot of demand for these professionals, especially the data professionals. It might be a data analyst, a data scientist, a data engineer, ML engineer, AI engineer. All of them, yes, there is a huge demand, friends. In the market, there is very huge. Okay. Anyways, and Moreover, this is going to build a lot of connections. Okay. So don't misuse the opportunity. The opportunity that we are providing as part of the internship, don't misuse and be part of it. So are you ready to start your career with Nextera Unitech? So why don't you join our program on the internship? So this particular program is going to gain you a lot of skills and the experience that you need. Okay. So this is a clear understanding of the internship program that Nextera Unitech offers. Okay. And it's you who have to take the right decision. Right? Yes. So now it's time for our questions. If you have any kind of questions, post them in the chat. I'll be responding to your questions. No, for time being, we are providing internships in the fields of data related roles. Soon we'll be in the field of different fields also. No worries. Okay. So if you have semester exams in the mid of this month, that's fine. Because, if you are able to manage, be part of this batch. If not, even we'll be having the batches every month. Okay. So you can be part of the other batch as well. But if you are ready, you can be part of this batch that I'm going to start tomorrow. Any other questions? Right. So let me go back. I'll go back and probably under the learning phase, what exactly are we going to do? You know, you know, what exactly are we going to do as part of learning phase? In the learning phase, after completing our orientation session, we'll have the learning phase started with immediate effect. Okay. So that means from Saturday, we'll have the learning phase where on daily basis, you will be learning two topics simultaneously. One topic in the morning and one topic in the evening. Assume that you have started learning Python. For each of these topics, again, we'll be providing our links. We'll be sharing our videos and you have to go through these videos. And before the end of the day, you have to submit the assignments as well. For the topics that you have learned as part of Python and the other topic, it might be SQL. Okay. So for these topics, on the same day, the assignments will be posted in the group. You are supposed to complete the assignment and submit by EOD. Okay, if you are done with the assignment, if you can upload them, you can submit them by EOD. But what if you fail? If you fail and if you have a genuine reason, yes, it is accepted. But if you are failing without a genuine reason, it is not accepted and we are going to remove you from the internship. This is what happens. Okay, if you are doing it in a right way, if you are using the opportunity in a right way, yes, you are allowed to be part of this internship, my friends. We are providing it as a free. Okay. If you are taking it for granted, no one is allowing you to be part of this internship. Okay. So to ensure that you are learning, we also have the assignments. And on every week, okay, probably on Friday, we will be having doubt clarification sessions where the entire team gets, they'll connect with you and your doubts, your queries will be addressed. Next to it, once after learning all the topics, you will be moved to the project phase where you will be working on a project. Okay, we will be providing you the business problem, the objectives, then the constraints. Okay, from these points, we'll also provide you. Initially, you have to do research for the project that you're working on. Then you'll get the data, you'll find the data. Post after doing all these things, you'll implement the topics, whatever you have learned on the same project. That is what we do. Okay, so I repeat one more time. Learning phase will be for 30 days and project phase will be for 15 days. So tomorrow it is going to start the internship on data analytics, data science. Clear? That's fine. See, even though if you have, your college, you can manage it, right? See, will be posting the videos of these topics. These sessions will be posted in your group. And why don't you work after coming to your place? Aren't you in a position to submit the assignments? These assignments will be very simple, my friends. They'll not be complicated. We are just giving these assignments to check whether you are learning or not. Okay, at least by end of the day, you have to submit the assignments. Both the assignments has to be submitted. Clear? Right. So as part of the project phase, majority of us have a question, right? What are we going to do as part of the project phase? So you will be given with the business problem. Okay. Next to it, you'll be starting working on the research part, where you will be trying to get the data for the given project. And once if you have the data set has been, if you are able to find it, by doing the research, then we'll start the project. We'll get the data stored in the database. Initially, yes. So from the database, we'll be pulling the data and we'll get back to the Python. Okay. So we are going to have the data from the database to Python memory. Once if you have the data in the Python memory, you'll start working on EDA. Exploratory data analysis will be done. Then after performing EDA, we'll also do data cleansing part. And on this data, we can visualize the reports. So on the clean data and the raw data, we'll be visualizing the reports using Power BI. Okay, so this is what we do, my friends, as part of the project phase. And within the project phase, for all the 15 days, we'll be interacting with each other. We'll be connecting and we'll be discussing how the project things are going on. If you are stuck up anywhere, we'll be assisting you. As part of the project, we'll be assisting you. Okay, but it will be like a group project where each and everyone have to work on and they have to come up with their own documents. Only their documents are accepted. They cannot submit the documents in a group. Everyone have to come up with their own artifacts. Clear? Any other questions related to internship? Not from tomorrow, from the whenever the learning phase gets started, from that day you are supposed to work on the assignments. Okay, so assignments you have to work on from the learning phase journey. Tomorrow it will be an orientation session only. Okay, whatever you will be learning, how you are going to learn, each and every topic will be communicated in the tomorrow session. Okay, and we will be informing you where we are supposed to connect at what time. All the details will be shared. So ensure that you are part of the WhatsApp group. Right. So whatever the questions that you have with respect to the orientation session, all of them will be addressed in the tomorrow's session. Okay. Each and every point will be communicated before we start the orientation session. So be part of our WhatsApp channel. Okay. So the WhatsApp channel link will be posted. If you are part of this particular channel, you'll get all the update, friends. Be part of Next Era Unitech WhatsApp channel. Clear? Yes. If you don't have any other questions, and if you feel that the session went well, hit on the like button and do share across this particular session across your connections. Ask them to learn Python, right? And if you have any kind of questions, even in future, you can also post them in comment section. So we have posted our WhatsApp channel link. So friends, be part of this channel. Just click on this link. You will be redirected to Next Era Unitech channel. Okay. So all the updates that you get from our organization, you'll receive it in this channel. Okay. Also do share across your connections. Spread this news regarding this free internship. Thank you so much, friends. Here we have the feedback link. Ensure that everyone fills the feedback link before you leave. And also hit on the like button. It's a kind of support that we get from your side. Right? Yes. Thank you so much once again. Have a great day. Signing off.